What's going on, y'all? It's J Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video. As you guys can see, I wanted to get one more prediction video out before we hit the weekend, and that is for rookies versus sophomores. Waited longer than I'd like, but then they dropped 3 more battles. Which we'll talk about. I guess we'll start talking about in the beginning here. We'll knock those out of the way real quick. But should be a pretty good card. Obviously, the rookie versus sophomore action is the action that I care about most here. It's not being streamed for whatever reason. We begged, we shouted to the mountaintops, and nothing changed. It's tough when you want to see new talent thrive, especially as someone that gets to catch all their battles. But once the event happens, it's going to be another Martinis in the building recap, which is about half on, half off, if not a lot of times dramatized. But we're going to get that, and then we're going to have to see, obviously weeks after the fact how the battles turn out, but I expect the battles to still be good, high stakes for all, so I expect them to be important. And without further ado, let's start off talking about the extended and added matchups to the card. So we start out from the bottom matchup, and that is T-Top versus Prep. And as for most of these here, the matchmaking is questionable. There's no other way to put it. I think that, you're just getting some quick matches together to extend onto a card that's really rookie and sophomore based, right? So it's just adding on one-offs. And I think when you talk T-Top and Prep, it's really just anything. There's no other way to put it. We know that Prep is, if you really look at the career of Prep, past all the ridiculousness, it's kind of just putting him where he's at a little bit stock-wise right now when it comes to literally making up angles and being like, yeah, I made this all the way up. We all know about the digital schizophrenia incident where Prep was 7 different people. But I expect T-Top to just get a clear win. There's really no other way to put this. I think T-Top has battled in this position for most of the year, where he's just been a heavy ace side, like in battles versus Trufo, real name Brandon, Capo, although he's a promising rookie, so there's more sense to that type of battle. And now you get Prep. I expect T-Top 2-1. If he really wants to make a show of Prep, there's angles there to absolutely make a mockery of him. I believe T-Top is one of the people that Prep was pretending to be in that incident, if I'm correct. So it could be funny, but for the most part, it's a battle. So I got T-Top winning that one really clear. Then you get into Av versus Snake Eyes. This is another battle that I shrugged my shoulders at. Av headlined Summer Madness this year, which I thought was a fantastic look for him. I think that he deserved it. I think he should have battled Hollow this year if at all possible with all the talking they've done. But outside of the Tay-Rock battle, Trufo, Quest McCody, now we got Snake Eyes. Clone is in there. It was one of the better battles he had this year, actually. But for the most part, battling way down. But Av is out there for all smoke. It's not too much different from his behavior, but would like a better op than Snake Eyes. And as for Snake Eyes, he just keeps doing it, man. He just keeps getting top tier battles. I know that he called out T-Top a lot. He called out Danny a lot. But here he is versus Av. Usually when it comes to these battles, there should be a round that's she'll have one round that's pretty good. Maybe makes a round debatable, but I do have Av 30 going into this one. He does more on a performance level. He does way more on a bar-for-bar level. And really, no matter the situation, even if you look at Av battling down, like I said this year, he dropped the second to Quest. I thought that was a debatable second, but for the rest of them, he's a pro's pro. He's never going to, be unmotivated to the point that he's choking or anything like that, and his ceiling is just so much higher. I think this is going to file into another easy. He battled J400 also this year. I think this files more into just those easy W's and builds up this case that has this one great rock battle and then 5 or 6 wins where you're expected probably 90 to 10 to win or something like that. And then you get into the 2v2s. The 2v2, and that is Tay-Rock versus Swervo, or Tay-Rock versus Swervo, Tay-Rock and Swervo versus Mac Myron and Kitchen Clean, Clean Paper, whatever you'd like to call Clean at this point in his career. And this one is, it's funny, Rock is everywhere. I think this is Rock's 11th battle of the year. Probably his most active year up to this point. I think last year was his most active. He either had 9 or 10. Now we're talking about he takes another step up. 2v2 is... Yeah, I think that there's a possibility for Swervo and Rock to have some moments. Rock, similar to Av, but even a heightened level, a pro's pro, so Rock is always going to have good material. Swervo has had, I'd say, an underrated year. Maybe to some not underrated, but I think Swervo's really arrived this year. One of the newer talents, especially one of the DMV talents I'm very impressed with in 2023. And as for Mac and Clean, specifically Mac, he lost a couple times and got completely benched. Clean, we know that was kind of his situation, the multiple body bag losses after starting out really good on his URL exclusive contract. But they've been doing good on 2-on-2s off league. Maybe this is the best way to kind of build up that stock again for Clean, build it up for Mac. They could be extremely funny. there's a possibility of them really winning this battle, to be honest with you. I'm going with Swervo and Rock, home game. On top of the fact, I think bar for bar, the material just hits a little bit heavier, but the comedic factor of the Mac and Clean has to be considered, and there's a possibility they win this. And out of these three matchups, not going to lie, not the biggest fan of any of them, but the 2-on-2 probably has the best chance of being a good back and forth battle. And as for the main card here, the actual rookies versus sophomores card, we'll start from the bottom. And as for the first two matchups, I feel pretty confident in my pick here. First of all, Hansel versus Mozzie. Shout out to Mozzie. I expect him definitely to be better than his KCJ performance, but I have Hansel winning all of the rounds, and probably winning all of the rounds by a lot, if I got to be honest with you. If you look what Hansel's done this year, even with this will be his fourth battle, you know what I'm saying? But even with the little workload that he's had in terms of Holmesy, Eunice, and Shotgun Shug, the Holmesy battle, pretty good, like in terms of like really objectively break down the technical factors. To be honest, a little bit boring, a little bit of a hard watch, but a decent battle. Then you get into him versus Eunice. Amazing. You know what I'm saying? Probably one of the top 10 battles of 2023. You get into him versus Shotgun Shug, a very clear and explosive win over Yvette and Shotgun Shug, who went and just lit up, you know what I'm saying, Ace and Irving Plaza. So, you know, it helps when the legend stock is doing good and you're one of the wins in there. I know up to that point, Shug had a rough 2023, but those are really good highlight wins. Now you get Mozzie, who's one battle on the league, is choking 3 rounds and dying to KCJ. Now, like I said, there's got to be improvement because it doesn't get worse than that, right? And I think that there is a little bit of material in there that shows that Mozzie can get some punches off, especially in a Martini's room. I think that it'll be helpful. I don't think it's like too hostile of a room where he can't get it together, and I don't expect him to be as bad as he was last time, but with what Hansel's shown me, how could I pick against Hansel in any world? Then you get into Ease versus Bandit Montana. I think this one will be debatable. I like what Ease does, but I like what Ease does on bigger stages. As funny as that sounds, if you look at what he did on Civil War 3 versus Hansel, bigger stage in Florida given, but the more people in there, the more explosive his punches are. Kind of a slow build-up guy. It's not like it's going to be rapid fire, which I think helps you more in a smaller room. I could see it going either way because Bandit is just seasoned. You know what I'm saying? I have all these guys. Clearly, he is the most experienced. I think maybe he has some of the least explosive factor in the class, but he's not going to, you know, compared to other battlers here, he's a little less likely, much less likely to choke or do something, you know, have an air ball that will lose himself the round. He's gonna show up to the battle at a certain level, and it's about, can Ease reach a ceiling and explode past that, or if Ease makes mistakes on his own, Bandit will just clean up the win. I have Ease 2-1 because I think he needs it, needs it. As the sophomore, probably the lowest ranking sophomore stock-wise right now. It's very necessary for him. I think it's going to be debatable, though. I don't expect anything too special here, but I'm going with Ease going in 2-1. Then we have Authentic versus Capo Bravado, turning into maybe the grudge match of the class, right? They've exchanged a lot of trash talk, a lot of promo online. Probably the most, really disrespecting each other, yelling at each other in interviews, which you want to see. We would like to see more of this for most of the battles, although I think, you know, Klutz and Eunice did pretty good. Wu Sansa Flair. But I do have Capo 2-1 winning this battle. I like Capo's ceiling, even though I didn't really like what he gave us in the T-Top battle. Thought he could have, even if you got him winning, I thought he could have did much better, wrapped a little longer. I still had T-Top on the low, you know what I'm saying, edging that battle. But so I could see the case for Capo in the first 2 rounds. But for me personally, I just think that he is similar to what I said with Bandit and Ease, he's just a higher ceiling. I think he can just do more. I think he's even beyond the 2 battles we talked about before, and I see Authentic. There's good jug references, good punching. I like the delivery, but I'm yet to see. I know him and Jack Boy's battle was good, but even for me, that wasn't like he's here. Oh, we have to pay attention on a star level. It's a good battle, but there's not. I think with Capo, there's a possibility with the uniqueness of style for him to really separate himself. As for Authentic, I think he does some good things in battle rap, but I don't know where his separating factor is. I don't know what Authentic does that makes him different than other we go hard style or New York style battle rappers. That doesn't mean that he's bad by any means, but I think you could see in the JC performance, he's pretty good, but it's just a gentleman's 30. You know what I'm saying? What is he doing at an explosive level besides a haymaker here and there like any other battle rapper? And for that reason, I think Capo can talk a little bit more direct. There's just that more uniqueness to get excited for his style, and for me, that's what's going to help him get the victory here over Authentic. And then there's just the last 3 battles of the card, but for me, where really like a lot of the power of this card lies. First one to talk about is Foots versus Dice. Now, this one wasn't on the last trailer. Don't know what that's about, but knowing URL this year, that could mean a lot of different things. That could just be a mistake, or it could be a battle that's really not happening. So if it's not happening, it would be tough because Foots versus Dice is one of the matchups that I would personally like to see a lot. But if it does, like I'm hoping. I originally was going with Dice 2-1. I'm not going to say in a miracle. but kind of like the strong underdog pick. I like what Dice does lyrically. I think he's super, super clever. Just on a line-for-line basis, it's a natural creativity I don't think everyone has. I wasn't the biggest fan of his Real Deal performance, but it was his first 3-rounder, and he 30 Real Deal. You know what I'm saying? So it can't be that bad. But with that being said, Foots is one of the best in this UM6 class. I think Foots has real potential to be top tier one day if he puts everything together and he stays consistent. I think it's been rough for him. God forbid this is canceled after his Nitty battle pretty much gets vaulted. It would be an unfortunate back half of the year for Foots, but obviously the talent is there, the rapid fire with the rhyme pockets. Even though people draw the comparisons to Nitty to Asheed, I think is the main one, but I still think there's enough in there for his own unique style. He's finding himself, and this is the experience you get from battling some top tiers, different situations, going on a big stage. Granted, you died, but these are the things that you learn from in battle rap as you go on. No one started out undefeated, and I just think it's one of those things where one guy, they're both extremely talented, but one guy's just farther down the road than the other, and I would have Foots pretty clearly winning that battle 2-1, but Dice being very good. Then you get into the last two, Souffleur versus Wusa. I like it. I like it a lot. They do a lot of the same things. I think that they both punch, but they both punch out of kind of real talk, sometimes struggle talk setups. They have the ability to get into that bag where they can get soulful, but they can also just go bar for bar with the haymakers. In a lot of ways, it's a little mirror match-ish. I am going Souffleur 2-1 going in. I've always been a big fan of Souffleur in this class. For a while, I thought he was number one in the class. Harder to say that since it's been a little bit since he got a W. I thought him and Nitty was good. I did have Nitty winning that battle, especially as time has went on. And Souffleur did rap long ass rounds. Then there's the 2-on-2. Then there's the Danny Myers battle. So there just hasn't really been, outside of maybe an OSBO battle I'm missing somewhere in there, in terms of like his main stage battles, the main battles that are going to move your career forward or backwards. It hasn't been as good recently, but there just hasn't been as much booked recently. I still think he's one of the highest level talents in the class. I still think that he's extremely clever, and like I said, it's like that hybrid. I think he's really mastering having real talk and being direct while also having the wordplay and haymakers that people like. You're helping two different fan bases when you do that, and that's why I do have him beating Wusa in one of the better battles of the night. But save my battle of the night for last. I think Klutz versus Eunice is about to be fantastic. I think Klutz has had very clean record since getting onto the scene, right? He did lose to Loso, but had him beating JC. I did have Chilla beating him, but a lot of people have that as a debatable battle. A lot of people have Klutz in the second and the first. And then as for Cortez, he smoked Cortez in New York. It's been a lot of smoking of Cortez lately, so I'm not going to act like it's an end-all, be-all win. But Cortez, JC, Chilla, he's passing his test. And now you get Eunice, who passed his test with flying colors versus Miss Hustle on final exams, was incredible. Credible versus Hansel, did lose in a judge battle, though, while he was really good, which is something to see here. Eunice has shown he can be amazing and still come out on the losing end of the battle. I don't think it's, he's at that point yet where it's like, who's going to stop that momentum? It's possible for him to lose, but he keeps putting up good footage, and what this comes down to is both of them are going to go to war with the pen. But Eunice does a little bit more energy-wise and angling-wise. I saw the directness he had versus Hustle. That whole pay attention. To do that as a rookie shows extreme seasoning. And then he clearly has more energy and probably can control the room better than Eunice. Top of that, Eunice is very liked in this Martini's room. He's very familiar with it. So for all those reasons, I have it being the battle of the night. But I do think Eunice walks away with this one 2-1 edge because of the other factors he has outside of the pen. And that'll be it here for my predictions on rookies versus sophomores. You guys let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of this card? Do you like the extended, like the 3 matchups they added? Do you not? And then as for the card itself, which side of the rookies do you think comes out looking better here? Do you think the old UM, and if you don't know either side, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Just give me who you think will be one of the standout performances. But I remember going into this, I heard in the spaces before this card got announced, but there was heavy rumors that it was. I remember Hansel and Klutz talking about, it might not be smart for them to do this, investment versus investment. How is that smart for the league? But for me, this is perfect. The stakes of this are perfect because not everyone's going to make it. There's at least probably 3 to 4 guys that off this card are going to take a stock drop and maybe never make it back to a point where they're in a serious position. But that's fun. I hate to say it because we are talking about people's careers, their elevation, and maybe all 12 stay on the roster and get, plates in different ways. If they're low tier, if they're middle tier, fill-ins, top tier guys that they're pushing as stars. But it has to go that way because when there's the few that are special and make it out of the class and end up being top tiers, it tells a story. They fought out of a pack of 12 people. So for all those reasons, that's why I'm excited. Care less about the investment versus investment. That's what needs to happen so we find out who's really the best of this pool of battlers. But you guys let me know down in the comments down below all your takes going into it, and what rookies you think are going to come out on top and end up being the guys that get those first pushes here from URL. But it's been Jay Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Extremely excited for this and the trenches this weekend. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.